What if we did some fan casting? What's up, everybody? Trey here from the Imaginary Friends, and for a little while now I've wanted to do a video series about fan casting, which is something that we all do. I think I've made some pretty choice decisions, and so for today we're gonna fan cast the Ghostbusters universe. I'm talking Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2, the originals. Let's just forget about that one that they made not too long ago. What I'm gonna do in these videos is I'm going to talk about the character, talk about the original actor, and then explain my decision for my choice for who should play the character in the new movie. First up, we have Peter Venkman, aka Bill Murray. For Peter Venkman, I decided to go with Jimmy Simpson. Jimmy Simpson is an actor who is on the rise. He's been in Westworld. He's been in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He was in Party Down. He's one of those actors to where if you saw him, you would recognize him, but you might not remember his name. Peter Venkman has this very sarcastic way about him in the movie. And Bill Murray back then was both slightly attractive, but not really attractive, more approachable than anything else. And I think that Jimmy Simpson could pull that off. I think he's a handsome guy, but I think that he could definitely be dolled up to where he would look a little less attractive. Next up for Raymond Stantz, aka Dan Aykroyd, I chose Pete Holmes. Pete Holmes is a comedian that's been on the scene for some time now. He's done a lot of acting in a lot of YouTube series. He's done stuff with College Humor. He had his own late night talk show for a little while. He recently just finished up Crashing, a show about his life on HBO. So he's definitely got the acting chops that he would need. Pete Holmes kind of has a baby face, and I think that Dan Aykroyd in the movie had a little bit of a baby face as well. Pete Holmes could definitely pull off the comedic parts to Raymond Stantz. I think that he's a great choice. Next on our list, Egon Spengler, aka Harold Ramis. I went with the incomparable Ben Schwartz. Ben Schwartz is an amazing actor, and I love everything that he's been in. Every performance that I've ever seen of his, it's been fantastic. And I definitely feel that Ben Schwartz could pull off Egon's somewhat awkward demeanor. Harold Ramis unfortunately passed away, and I think that he did a tremendous job in the movie. Again, he's one of those actors that everything I saw him in, I enjoyed. I think Ben Schwartz would do a proper homage to him and to the character. For Winston Zeddemore, aka Ernie Hudson, I decided to go with somebody who is definitely on the rise, somebody that you look at him and you would recognize him. I decided to go with Lakeith Stanfield. Lakeith was in Get Out. He's been in the TV show Atlanta with Donald Glover, and he's been in some of Donald Glover's other projects. Winston was kind of new to the world of the supernatural and ghosts, and I feel like Lakeith could pull that blue collar, I don't know what's really going on, but I want to kind of help out vibe that Ernie Hudson brought to the role. I think Lakeith would do a fantastic job. So for Sigourney Weaver's Dana Barrett, I decided to go with Emmy Rossum. Dana Barrett in both movies very much had an independent, I don't need anybody's help vibe, and I feel like Emmy could pull that off. She played that kind of character in Shameless. I feel like they look similar to one another in some ways. I definitely feel like Emmy could pull off that annoyed vibe that Sigourney Weaver had in both movies. Plus, I think she and Jimmy Simpson would make a cute couple on screen. Louis Tully, Rick Moranis. It's hard to think of anyone that could do justice to the role that Rick did, but I decided to go with Chris Gethard. Chris Gethard is an up-and-coming comedic actor who definitely has the same look aesthetically that Lewis has. I can definitely see Chris Gethard pulling off the awkward, social, friendly, weird vibe that Lewis pulls off, and I could totally see him being crushed when somebody doesn't reciprocate. I could see Chris Gethard delivering a line and staring at the other person, kind of smiling, waiting for them to respond. I think Chris is a shoo-in for this role. So for Janine Milnett's Annie Potts, I decided to go with Jayma Mays, who's famous for being the love interest in Paul Blart Mall Cop 1. She was also on Glee. She's been in Epic Movie and several other smaller roles. She definitely looks like Annie Potts. She could definitely deliver the deadpan, no-nonsense vibe that Janine Milnett's brought to the role. I think that she would be hilarious. I think that she and Chris Gethard would be a cute couple on screen. It's a no-brainer to me. For Walter Peck, who was played by William Atherton, I decided to go with George Basil. George George Basil somewhat looks like Walter Peck, he could definitely be a jerk on screen. George Basil starred alongside Pete Holmes in the show Crashing. He's also been in some College Humor shorts. I could totally see him pulling off the jerk vibe and being the foil to the Ghostbusters, to this new, younger Ghostbusters. And I could also definitely see him kissing butt to the mayor. And I'm very excited for who I've chosen for the mayor. The mayor was played by David Margulies in Ghostbusters, and I've decided to go with Nicolas Cage. Now, before you start arguing, Nicolas Cage has definitely gotten up there. He's a little bit more round. He's a little thinner on the hair. And I've seen several of his roles here lately in the last few years, and I could totally see him pulling off the mayor. And plus, in a movie like this where we have so many younger actors, we don't really have that star power. We don't really have that name recognition so far. And so I feel like Nicolas Cage could draw in audiences. Now, he might draw in audiences so that people can scoff at him, but he is definitely a household name and someone who's very recognizable, and so I feel like that would help this new Ghostbusters film. So there wasn't really a main villain in their first Ghostbusters movie. It was more just that the ghosts were busting out and they needed to go and thwart them. And so I decided to go ahead and fan cast Ghostbusters 2, and for these choices I had the help of my fiance Hagen, so thanks babe for helping me come up with these choices. For Dr. Johannes Poha, that creepy guy that keeps hitting on Dana, who was played by Peter MacNicol, I decided to go with Thomas Middleditch. Thomas Middleditch can definitely pull off eccentric. He can definitely pull off awkward. I could totally see him flirting with Emmy Rossum and just totally, you could read his facial expression when she shuts him down. Thomas Middleditch has been in a ton of stuff. He's been on Silicon Valley. He has an improv show on Netflix with Ben Schwartz. He has been in everything, and I could totally see him pulling off his role. For Hardemeyer, who's played by Kirk Fuller, that guy who kind of replaced Walter Peck and is trying to cover up for the mayor and trying to keep the Ghostbusters away from him, I decided to go with Rainn Wilson. I could totally see Rainn Wilson being a jerk and trying to thwart this new younger Ghostbusters generation like we saw with George Basil and Walter Peck. And I could also see Rainn Wilson tapping into his Dwight Schrute when it comes to trying to foil the Ghostbusters. It'd be hilarious to watch. So one of the other characters in Ghostbusters 2 that kind of played a major role was Judge Stephen Wexler, who is played by Harris Yulin. I decided to go with J.K. Simmons. Judge Stephen Wexler is an older guy who is just angry and is just yelling a bunch. He hates the Ghostbusters and really isn't giving them a fair chance. And J.K. Simmons could do that to the T. He could tap into his J. Jonah Jameson. He could tap into his Whiplash. The guy is a phenomenal actor and he could totally pull this off. Lastly, we have Vigo, who I'm looking at my notes here and was played by Wilhelm von Humberg. If anyone was ever destined to play a villain, it's Wilhelm von Humberg. Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving. Wouldn't even have to put on that much makeup. Totally already kind of looks like the guy. This is one that Hagen and I kind of argued a lot about. I wanted to go with Christoph Waltz originally, but she just didn't see it, and so I kept looking. I Googled villain actors, and Hugo Weaving came up in the image results, and it's perfect. He's played so many villains. The villain from The Matrix, Red Skull from Captain America. Plus, he's also been a million-year-old elf in the Lord of the Rings series. Hugo's the man. Hugo can pull this off. I can't believe that it took me this long to realize it. Now, one more choice just to add into this, just as a bonus. Brian Doyle Murray plays a psychiatrist when the Ghostbusters are sent to the insane asylum. Brian Doyle Murray is Bill Murray's brother, and so I thought it would be cool to go ahead and cast him, and I decided to go with Nate Mooney. Nate Mooney doesn't look like Brian Doyle Murray. He doesn't necessarily act like him, but he did play Jimmy Simpson's brother on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, so I thought that would be kind of a neat little casting, just kind of a throwback, a nod to that. But these are my choices for Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2 if they did a reboot. It's really fun after I've done this to go back and watch the movies because network TV is showing the Ghostbusters almost every other day on TV right now. And so it's fun to watch the movie and kind of envision these actors playing the roles. I doubt this will ever happen. We have a new Ghostbusters movie that's set to come out either later this year or maybe due to everything that's going on, it's been pushed back to next year. But Ghostbusters Afterlife is coming out and it's set in the original universe as these Ghostbusters movies. So we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, if you enjoyed this fan cast list, let me know. I definitely have some other movies ready to fan cast. I've done the Hercules movie. I've done a Batman universe. I'm working on fan cast lists for The Thing and the Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I guess you can kind of tell, but I'm really into both superhero movies and 80s horror. So if you enjoy these kind of things, you're excited to hear my list and you want to keep seeing more, let me know. I definitely want to make content that you would enjoy. But until next time, keep the imagination alive.